The massive crystal chamber buzzed with electric energy as the ancient message played for the third time. Ambassador Krell's four eyes narrowed as he watched the holographic display show images of a small blue planet orbiting a yellow star. The Keeper's warning echoed through the room with a voice that had witnessed the rise and fall of countless civilizations. "Do not attack the humans," the message repeated. "They appear weak, but they possess something we have never seen before. When threatened, they become something else entirely. Their capacity for war and adaptation knows no limits. We have watched them for centuries. They will surprise you." Krell's scaled hand slammed against the control panel, shutting off the transmission. His purple skin flushed darker with anger. Around the circular chamber, other Zephyrian military leaders shifted uncomfortably in their floating chairs. The air recyclers hummed quietly, the only sound breaking the tense silence. "The Keepers have grown soft in their old age," Krell announced, his voice carrying the authority of someone who had conquered 12 star systems. "Look at these creatures." He gestured at the display showing human cities, highways filled with primitive wheeled vehicles, and aircraft that still burned chemical fuel. "They cannot even leave their own planet properly. Their fastest ships take months to reach their own moon." General Nex, Krell's second-in-command, leaned forward in his chair. "But sir, the Keepers have never been wrong before. They predicted the fall of the Mordian Republic and the collapse of the Crystal Worlds." "Times change," Krell replied coldly. "The Keepers speak of humans as if they were some kind of hidden threat. These beings fight wars with metal projectiles and explosive chemicals. Our plasma cannons can destroy their largest cities from orbit. Our shields can stop anything they throw at us." Far across the galaxy, Captain Jake Martinez stood on the bridge of the exploration ship New Horizon, staring out at the gas giant Jupiter through the main viewport. The massive planet's red spot swirled like a storm that could swallow Earth whole. Martinez was a career military officer who had volunteered for humanity's first long-range space mission. His weathered face showed the stress of 6 months in deep space. "Captain, we're picking up something strange," called Lisa Turner from the pilot's seat. Her fingers danced across the control panel as she adjusted the ship's sensors. "There's an object near Jupiter that doesn't match anything in our databases." Martinez walked over to Turner's station and looked at the screen. A small metallic object, roughly the size of a school bus, orbited Jupiter at a distance that put it just outside the planet's radiation field. It was clearly artificial, with smooth surfaces that reflected sunlight in patterns that nature never created. "Ryan, what do you make of this?" Martinez asked the ship's engineer. Ryan Bell looked up from his workstation, his young face showing excitement mixed with concern. "It's definitely not human technology, Captain. The materials look like some kind of metal alloy we've never seen before. And look at this energy signature." Bell transferred his readings to the main screen. "It's powered by something that's not nuclear, not solar, and not chemical. This thing has been here for weeks, maybe months." Amy Garcia, the communications officer, suddenly straightened in her chair. "Captain, I'm receiving a transmission from Earth. It's marked as Priority 1. "Put it through," Martinez ordered. The image of Dr. Helen Brooks appeared on the main screen. She was one of Earth's leading scientists, specializing in the search for extraterrestrial life. Her laboratory was located deep underground in Colorado, designed to be safe from any outside threats. But today, her usually calm expression showed worry. "Captain Martinez, we need you to stay exactly where you are and document everything you can about that object. We've been tracking similar probes in 7 different locations throughout our solar system. This is it, Jake. This is first contact." Back, in the Zephyrian Council chamber, the debate continued. The Empire's ruling council consisted of military leaders who had built their reputation on quick, decisive victories. They had conquered primitive worlds before, always with overwhelming force that ended resistance before it could truly begin. "The humans have something we need," declared Councillor Vox, pointing to resource charts that floated in the air before them. "Their planet contains deposits of rare minerals that would fuel our expansion for the next century. Iron, gold, platinum, and something they call oil. With these resources, we could build twice as many ships. And their population could provide useful labor," added another counselor. 7 billion beings who could work in our factories and mines." Krell stood up, his massive frame towering over the other council members. The decision is clear. We launch a demonstration attack that will show them our power. Once they see what we can do, they will surrender immediately. No species has ever continued fighting after seeing our plasma cannons in action. The vote was unanimous. Within hours, the largest Zephyrian fleet ever assembled began preparing for departure. 300 warships, each capable of destroying a human city with a single shot, gathered at the edge of Zephyrian space. On Earth, Dr. Brooks worked frantically in her laboratory, surrounded by screens showing data streams from around the world. Governments had been secretly informed of the alien presence, and emergency meetings were taking place in every major capital. The alien probes had made no hostile moves, but their very presence changed everything. The probes are clearly observing us, Brooks explained to a video conference that included world leaders. They're scanning our technology, our communications, our military capabilities. This isn't a peaceful scientific mission. Someone is gathering intelligence. President Adams appeared on one of the screens from Washington. Dr. Brooks, what are our options? Can we communicate with them? We're trying, but they're not responding to any of our attempts at contact. These probes are advanced beyond anything we can currently build. Whoever sent them has technology that's hundreds of years ahead of ours. In space, Captain Martinez and his crew continued their observations of the Jupiter probe. They had managed to get within a few hundred meters of the object, close enough to see details that both amazed and worried them. "It's beautiful," whispered Lisa Turner as she piloted the ship closer. "Look at those surface patterns. It's like someone carved designs into metal that flows like water." Ryan Bell's voice was tense as he reported his findings. "Captain, this thing is scanning us just as much as we're scanning it. Every time I run a sensor sweep, I detect return scans that are far more sophisticated than anything we can do." "Amy, any luck with communications?" Martinez asked. "Nothing, sir. I've tried every frequency and every basic mathematical sequence we know. Either they can't hear us, or they're choosing not to respond." Unknown to the humans, the probe was indeed listening. Every word, every scan, every piece of technology on the new horizon was being analyzed and transmitted back to the Zephyrian fleet. The aliens were learning about human capabilities, human psychology, and human weaknesses. As the Zephyrian war fleet entered faster than light travel toward Earth, the ancient keeper warning played one final time in an empty chamber. The holographic image of the blue planet slowly faded as the message concluded with words that would soon prove prophetic. "You will regret attacking the humans. They will turn your empire to ashes." The first plasma beam struck the International Space Station at exactly 1432 Greenwich Mean Time. The explosion was visible from Earth as a brief, brilliant flash that lit up the daytime sky. Within seconds, emergency broadcasts began flooding every communication channel on the planet. War Master Vex stood on the bridge of his flagship Dominator, watching Earth grow larger on the main viewing screen. His fleet of 300 warships spread out in perfect formation behind him, their weapons charged and ready. The attack had begun exactly as planned. "Target the military installations first," Vex ordered his weapons officer. "Show them we can destroy their primitive defenses with ease. Once they see our power, they will surrender within hours." On Earth, sirens wailed in every major city. Colonel Pete Adams rushed through the corridors of the Pentagon, shouting orders into his communication device. Emergency protocols that had been theoretical exercises just hours before were now desperate reality. "All units, this is command. We are under attack by unknown hostile forces. Repeat, we are under attack. All military personnel report to emergency stations immediately." Dr. Helen Brooks watched the attacks from her underground laboratory, her face pale as she studied the incoming data. The alien weapons were unlike anything humanity had ever seen. They fired beams of superheated plasma that could melt through steel like it was butter. "The energy readings are incredible," she whispered to her assistant. "Each shot carries enough power to level a city block. How many ships are there?" "Satellite data shows at least 300 vessels," came the reply. "They're targeting our military bases, communication centers, and major population areas." Thousands of miles away in space, Captain Jake Martinez and his crew aboard the New Horizon watched helplessly as their home planet came under attack. The communication channels were filled with desperate calls for help, emergency broadcasts, and the sounds of explosions. "We have to go back," Martinez said, his voice firm despite the impossible odds. "Earth is under attack. Our families, our friends, everyone we know is down there." Lisa Turner looked at him with concern. "Captain, we have one small exploration ship against an entire alien fleet. What can we possibly do?" "I don't know," Martinez replied. "But we're not running away while Earth burns." Ryan Bell was already working at his engineering station. "If we're going back, we need to be smart about it. Our ship wasn't built for combat, but maybe we can modify some systems. The mining lasers could be weaponized, and we have explosive charges for asteroid sampling." The Zephyrian attack continued for 3 hours. Military bases around the world were destroyed with precision strikes. Major cities lost power as energy plants were targeted. But something unexpected began to happen. Instead of surrendering, humans started fighting back. In Colorado, Colonel Adams coordinated the defense from a bunker deep underground. "All remaining aircraft, attack pattern Delta. Hit them with everything we have. Nuclear submarines prepare to surface and engage." The human counterattack was small but fierce. Fighter jets launched missiles at the alien ships, only to watch them bounce harmlessly off energy shields. Nuclear submarines surfaced and fired their weapons, achieving the same useless result. But the humans kept fighting. War Master Vex frowned as he watched the battle reports. "Why are they still attacking? Their weapons cannot penetrate our shields. Any logical species would have surrendered by now." His tactical officer looked up from his station. "Sir, they're using some kind of primitive chemical explosives and metal projectiles. Their technology is even more basic than we thought, but they won't stop fighting." "Then we will have to teach them a harder lesson," Vex replied coldly. The ground. Something remarkable was happening. Dr. Brooks and her team were studying every piece of alien technology they could find. When a Zephyrian fighter crashed in Nevada, recovery teams were there within hours. When plasma cannon fire left traces of exotic materials, scientists collected samples. "Look at this," Brooks said excitedly as she examined a piece of alien metal. "Their hull material is incredibly advanced, but it follows the same basic physical laws as everything else. If we can understand how it works, maybe we can find weaknesses." Megan Cole, a young computer specialist, made an even more important discovery. "Dr. Brooks, I've been analyzing their communication signals. Their computer systems are completely different from ours. They use quantum processing while we use binary code, but that means they probably can't hack our systems either." This discovery proved crucial when human forces captured their first intact alien vessel. A Zephyrian scout ship had been damaged by concentrated missile fire and crash-landed in the Australian desert. The pilot survived but was quickly captured by human forces. Sergeant Tony Vega led the team that secured the crash site. His squad surrounded the alien ship with weapons ready, not sure what to expect. The Zephyrian pilot was tall and purple-skinned, with 4 eyes that showed confusion and fear. "It's hurt," reported the medic. "Whatever they are, they bleed red just like us." The captured alien and his ship were immediately transported to a secure facility where Dr. Brooks and her team began the most important research project in human history. They had 3 days to learn everything they could before the main alien fleet returned. Captain Martinez and the New Horizon reached Earth's outer atmosphere just as another wave of attacks began. But this time something was different. Human forces were using new tactics that the aliens hadn't expected. "Lisa, take us down to the surface fast," Martinez ordered. "Amy, send a message to all human ships in the area. Tell them to converge on our position." What the Zephyrians saw next confused them completely. Instead of large military formations, humans began fighting in small groups that appeared and disappeared quickly. These groups used hit-and-run tactics, striking fast and then vanishing before the aliens could respond effectively. Commander Beth Stone led one such group from her base in Texas. She had taken command when her superior officers were killed in the first attack. Her plan was simple, but effective. "We can't match their firepower," she told her soldiers, "but we can be unpredictable. They expect us to fight like they do, with organized formations and standard tactics. Instead, we're going to fight like humans. Her team used everything available as weapons. Construction equipment became improvised tanks. Civilian trucks carried explosive charges. Even crop-dusting planes were modified to drop chemical weapons that could eat through alien hull materials. The Zephyrians found themselves facing an enemy unlike any they had encountered before. When they destroyed one human position, 3 more appeared elsewhere. When they adapted to one tactic, humans switched to something completely different. War Master Vex received increasingly frustrated reports from his field commanders. "Sir, the humans are using guerrilla warfare techniques we've never encountered. They hide among their own population. They use their civilian infrastructure as weapons. Every time we think we understand their strategy, they change it." "How many casualties have we taken?" Vex asked. 17 ships damaged, 3 destroyed. It should be impossible. Their weapons are primitive. But the humans were learning. Every captured piece of alien technology was studied, copied, and improved. Dr. Brooks's team worked around the clock, reverse engineering Zephyrian plasma weapons and shield generators. What they discovered would change everything. "The aliens are more advanced than us," Brooks reported to the Emergency Command Center. "But they're not creative. Their technology follows predictable patterns. They build things one way and never change. We can use that against them." As the second day of fighting ended, something unprecedented happened in the history of Zephyrian warfare. Human forces had not only survived the initial attack, but had begun inflicting real damage on alien forces. They had captured intact technology, taken prisoners, and proven that advanced weapons meant nothing without the will to adapt and overcome. Captain Martinez landed the New Horizon at a military base that was still operational. As he stepped out of his ship, Colonel Adams was there to meet him. "Captain, we need every ship we can get. Are you ready to fight?" Martinez looked up at the sky where alien ships still circled like predators. "Colonel, we've been ready our whole lives. We just didn't know it yet." 6 months after the first attack, Dr. Helen Brooks stood in what used to be her small laboratory. Now it was a massive underground complex that stretched for miles beneath the Colorado mountains. Hundreds of scientists and engineers worked day and night, surrounded by alien technology that had been captured, studied, and improved. "Show me the new weapon," Brooks said to her chief engineer, a former NASA technician named Carl Davis. Davis led her to a testing chamber where a strange-looking cannon sat on a metal platform. It looked like someone had taken a Zephyrian plasma weapon and rebuilt it using human engineering principles. The result was bigger, louder, and much more powerful than the original. "We call it the hybrid destroyer," Davis explained with pride. "It uses their plasma technology but with our power systems. The aliens build everything to be efficient and clean. We build things to work no matter what. This weapon can fire 3 times longer than theirs before overheating." Brooks smiled as she watched the weapon charge up for a test firing. The beam that shot out was twice as bright as any Zephyrian plasma cannon. It melted through 6 feet of solid steel like it was paper. "How many can we build?" she asked. "We're making 50 per day now. By next month, we'll have enough to equip every ship in our fleet." Far above them, Captain Jake Martinez stood on the bridge of his new ship. It had started life as a Zephyrian destroyer called the Swift Death. Now it was the human vessel Freedom, painted with Earth colors and equipped with weapons that made its original builders look like children playing with toys. "Captain, we're receiving the attack signal," reported Lieutenant Dan Foster, his new tactical officer. Foster had been a civilian mathematics teacher before the war started. Now he was one of humanity's best military strategists. "All ships, this is Martinez. Target the supply convoy and prepare to attack. Remember, we hit hard and we hit fast. Don't give them time to think." The human fleet had grown from captured alien ships and new vessels built using hybrid technology. Martinez now commanded 47 ships, each one crewed by humans who had learned to fight in space by doing it, not by reading about it in books. The Zephyrian supply convoy never had a chance. It was carrying food and replacement parts to alien forces attacking Earth. The convoy's escort ships were built for fighting other Zephyrian vessels, not for dealing with the chaos that human forces brought to every battle. Enemy ships detected, the Zephyrian convoy commander reported. They appear to be using our own technology, but the energy signatures are wrong. Their weapons are more powerful than they should be. Impossible, replied his escort captain. Human technology is primitive. They cannot improve our weapons. That was the last message the escort captain ever sent. The Freedom and her sister ships attacked from 6 different directions at once, using tactics that no military academy had ever taught. Human ships spun and rolled through space like dancers, making it impossible for the aliens to target them accurately. Lieutenant Foster watched his display screen as the battle developed. Captain, their formation is breaking apart. They're trying to retreat. Don't let them, Martinez ordered. Amy, signal all ships. Use attack pattern Chaos 7. Amy Garcia, now his communications officer on the new ship, smiled as she sent the signal. Pattern Chaos 7 was something only humans could execute. It required every ship to act independently while still working toward the same goal. No alien military mind could understand how it worked. The Zephyrian convoy was destroyed in less than 20 minutes. More importantly, the humans captured 3 ships intact and rescued alien prisoners who were beginning to question their empire's invasion of Earth. On the Zephyrian homeworld, Empress Zara read battle reports that made no sense to her. She was the supreme ruler of an empire that had conquered 12 star systems. She had never lost a major battle in her long military career. Explain to me how humans are winning battles against our forces, she demanded of War Master Vex, who had returned from Earth to report on the war's progress. Vex's purple skin had grown darker with stress over the past months. Your Majesty, the humans fight unlike any enemy we have ever faced. They take our technology and make it better. They use tactics that change every day. When we learn to counter one strategy, they invent 3 new ones. They are primitives, Zara replied angrily. They should have surrendered months ago. That is what we thought, Your Majesty. We were wrong. Back on Earth, the war had changed everything about human society. Factories that once made cars now built spacecraft. Schools taught children how to repair alien technology. Everyone had a job in the war effort, and everyone understood that losing meant the end of human civilization. Commander Beth Stone had been promoted to general and now led all ground forces on Earth. Her headquarters was built inside the ruins of New York City, surrounded by weapons that could destroy alien ships from the planet's surface. The next phase begins tomorrow, she told her staff officers. We're not just defending Earth anymore, we're taking the war to them. Ryan Bell had become humanity's chief weapons designer. His latest creation was something that gave even him nightmares. He called it the Evolution Drone, and it was unlike anything anyone had ever built before. The drones can learn from every battle, he explained to a group of military leaders. Each one shares information with all the others. When one drone learns how to defeat a new enemy weapon, they all know within seconds. They adapt faster than any living being could. The first evolution drones were launched from hidden bases around Earth. They were small, fast, and carried enough firepower to destroy ships much larger than themselves. But their real weapon was their ability to learn and change. Zephyrian Captain Morg was patrolling near Jupiter when the first drone attacked his ship. It was tiny compared to his heavy cruiser, but it moved like nothing he had ever seen. The drone seemed to know exactly where his ship would be before he decided to go there. Weapons officer, destroy that thing, Morg ordered. I'm trying, sir, but it's like fighting a ghost. Every time I lock onto it, it changes direction. And sir, it's learning our weapon patterns. My targeting system can't keep up. The drone didn't destroy Morg's ship. Instead, it studied every weapon, every defense, every tactical move the cruiser made. Then it transmitted all that information to thousands of other drones throughout the solar system. Within a week, no Zephyrian ship could survive an encounter with human drones. The small robots had learned every weakness in alien technology and could exploit them perfectly. Dr. Brooks received a priority message from intelligence. Teams who were questioning captured aliens. What they had learned changed her understanding of the entire war. The Zephyrian Empire is not as strong as we thought, reported Intelligence Officer Kate Wilson. They rule through fear and superior technology, but they've never faced an enemy that could match their technology and exceed their creativity. What does that mean for us? Brooks asked. It means we're not just winning battles, Doctor. We're proving to the entire galaxy that the Zephyrian Empire can be beaten. Their subject worlds are starting to rebel. Captain Martinez learned this firsthand when his fleet encountered a group of alien ships that weren't Zephyrian. They called themselves the Canary, and they had been slaves of the Empire for over a century. Human ships, this is Captain Jorak of the Canary Liberation Fleet. Came the message. We have heard of your victories against the Zephyrians. We request permission to fight alongside you. Martinez looked at his crew. They had gone from exploring space to commanding a rebellion that was spreading across the galaxy. Lieutenant Foster was already studying star charts, planning attacks on Zephyrian supply lines that would support the new rebellion. Permission granted, Captain Jorak, Martinez replied. Welcome to the fight for freedom. The war was no longer just about defending Earth. It had become something much larger. Humanity had awakened something in the galaxy that the Zephyrian Empire had tried to keep sleeping for centuries. The desire for freedom was spreading from world to world, and at the center of it all were the humans who refused to give up. General Stone received reports of uprisings on 17 different worlds. Each rebellion was inspired by news of human victories and supported by human weapons and tactics. The Zephyrian Empire was beginning to crack. They thought we were primitive, Stone told her officers. They were right. We were primitive. But we learned. We adapted. We became something they never expected. Engineer Bell put it more simply as he watched his evolution drones destroy another alien fleet. They made one mistake. They woke up humanity. Now they're going to learn what that really means. 2 years after the first Zephyrian attack on Earth, Admiral Jake Martinez stood on the bridge of his flagship watching an entire star system burn. The Kepler 442 system had been a major Zephyrian military base until 3 hours ago. Now, it was a field of wreckage and escape pods floating in the darkness of space. Casualties on our side? Martinez asked his tactical officer. Lieutenant Dan Foster checked his reports with satisfaction. 7 ships damaged, none destroyed. 0 human casualties. The evolution drones did most of the work before we even arrived. Martinez nodded as he watched the last Zephyrian installations explode on the nearby planet. The human war machine had become something that even frightened him sometimes. They were no longer the desperate defenders who had barely survived the first alien attack. They were predators, and the galaxy was their hunting ground. Signal the fleet, Martinez ordered. Set course for the Vega system. Intelligence reports. 3 more Zephyrian bases there. On Earth, General Lisa Turner reviewed battle reports from 17 different star systems. Her office was located in what used to be the United Nations building in New York. Now it was the headquarters for humanity's interstellar military operations. The walls were covered with star maps showing human advances across the galaxy. We're winning too fast, she told her staff. The Zephyrian Empire is collapsing faster than we expected. Their military is retreating from 6 major systems this week alone. Colonel Sam Parker, her chief intelligence officer, placed a new report on her desk. It gets better, General. We have confirmation that 4 more alien species have joined the rebellion. The Taraki, the Venlari, the Nexus Collective, and something called the Hive Mind are all fighting against Zephyrian forces. Turner studied the reports with growing amazement. How many worlds are in open rebellion now? 47 confirmed, with more joining every day. The Zephyrians are losing control of their entire empire. Dr. Helen Brooks had moved her operations to a massive space station orbiting Mars. The facility was built using captured alien technology, but designed with human improvements. It served as the research center for humanity's most advanced weapons development. Show me the new psychological warfare project, she told her team leader, Dr. Mark Johnson. Johnson led her to a communication center where technicians were broadcasting messages across the galaxy. But these weren't ordinary military communications. They were something much more dangerous to the Zephyrian Empire. We call it the Freedom Signal, Johnson explained. We broadcast the story of Earth's resistance to every world in Zephyrian space. We tell them how a primitive species defeated the Empire's best forces. We show them that the Zephyrians can be beaten. Brooks watched as technicians sent out videos of human victories, recordings of Zephyrian surrender ceremonies, and most importantly, technical information on how to build weapons that could fight alien forces. The psychological impact is incredible, Johnson continued. Zephyrian soldiers are surrendering rather than fighting. Their subject species are rising up everywhere. Some worlds are declaring independence without firing a single shot. Captain Amy Garcia had become humanity's chief diplomatic officer, leading missions to contact alien species throughout the galaxy. Her ship, the New Dawn, was equipped with universal translators and carried samples of every weapon design humanity had developed. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission from the Altair system," reported her communications officer. "It's from a species called the Zenthari. They say they want to discuss joining our alliance." Garcia smiled as she reviewed the message. The Zenthari controlled 12 star systems and had been fighting a losing war against the Zephyrians for decades. With human weapons and tactics, they could become a major force in the rebellion. "Set course for Altair," she ordered. "Let's go make some new friends." On the Zephyrian homeworld, Empress Zara paced back and forth in her throne room while her advisors delivered increasingly bad news. The empire that had taken centuries to build was falling apart in just 2 years. "Your Majesty," reported General Kex, "we have lost contact with all forces in the Outer Rim systems. The humans and their allies control everything beyond the Rigel sector." "How is this possible?" Zara demanded. "We had the largest military in the galaxy. We had technology that no primitive species should have been able to match." War Master Vex, who had led the original attack on Earth, stepped forward with shame written across his purple features. "Your Majesty, we underestimated what humans become when they are threatened. They don't just fight back. They evolve. They become something new." "Explain," Zara ordered coldly. "They take our technology and make it better. They use tactics we cannot predict. They inspire other species to fight harder than those species have ever fought before. But most importantly, they never give up. Ever." The truth was even worse than Vex realized. Humanity had discovered something about warfare that the Zephyrian Empire had forgotten during centuries of easy victories. War wasn't just about having better weapons or more ships. It was about adapting faster than your enemy could respond. Ryan Bell, now Earth's chief military engineer, demonstrated this principle every day. His latest creation was called the Nightmare Generator, and it lived up to its name. "The device broadcasts fear directly into Zephyrian brains," he explained to a group of military leaders. "Their species is naturally afraid of chaos and unpredictability. This amplifies that fear until they cannot function in battle." The first test of the Nightmare Generator was conducted during a battle in the Procyon system. Zephyrian forces outnumbered humans 3-1, but when the device activated, alien soldiers began abandoning their posts and fleeing in panic. "It's like they're seeing their worst nightmares come to life," reported the battle commander. "Half their fleet is retreating without being fired upon." But humanity's most effective weapon wasn't technology. It was something that couldn't be built in a factory or programmed into a computer. It was the ability to make other species believe they could win. Commander Beth Stone led a diplomatic mission to the Centauri system, where a species called the Morphians had been slaves of the Zephyrian Empire for over 300 years. They had tried to rebel many times but had always been crushed. "We can teach you to fight the way humans fight," Stone told their leaders. "Not with superior numbers or better weapons, but with determination and creativity." The Morphian leader, a being that looked like a cross between a bird and a lizard, studied Stone with curious eyes. "Your species has only been fighting for 2 years. How can you teach us what we have failed to learn in 3 centuries? Stone smiled and activated a holographic display showing human victories across the galaxy. "Because we learned something the Zephyrians never understood. The strongest weapon in the universe isn't a plasma cannon or an energy shield. It's the refusal to accept defeat." Within 6 months, the Morphian rebellion had liberated their entire system using tactics learned from human instructors. Similar rebellions erupted across the galaxy as species that had been conquered centuries ago suddenly remembered how to fight for freedom. Admiral Martinez received reports of these victories while his fleet prepared for the largest battle of the war. Intelligence had discovered the location of the Zephyrian Empire's main shipyard, where they built their most advanced warships. If we can destroy their shipyard, we can end their ability to replace losses, Martinez told his fleet commanders. But this won't be easy. They're defending it with everything they have left. Lieutenant Foster studied the tactical displays with the intensity that had made him humanity's best strategist. Admiral, I've identified 17 different ways we can attack, but I recommend we use all of them at the same time. All 17. Attack plans simultaneously? Martinez asked. The Zephyrians expect us to choose one strategy and stick with it. Instead, we'll use every strategy at once. Their commanders won't be able to keep up with that much chaos. The Battle of the Great Shipyard lasted for 8 hours and became the most decisive victory in human military history. Zephyrian forces, trying to respond to 17 different attack patterns simultaneously, fell into complete confusion. Their legendary military discipline broke down as commanders received contradictory orders, and tactical situations changed faster than they could process. When the battle ended, the Zephyrian Empire's ability to build new warships had been completely destroyed. More importantly, news of the victory spread across the galaxy within hours, inspiring even more rebellions. Dr. Brooks received a message that summarized the war's progress in simple terms. It came from a species called the Wanderers, who had been observing galactic events for thousands of years. The Zephyrian Empire is finished, the message stated, not because humans have better weapons, but because humans have taught the galaxy something it had forgotten. The will to be free is stronger than any empire. As Martinez prepared his fleet for the final assault on the Zephyrian homeworld, he reflected on how much humanity had changed. They had started as explorers looking at Jupiter's moons. Now they were leading a galactic revolution that was reshaping the entire known universe. Admiral, reported Amy Garcia from her diplomatic ship, we have confirmation from 48 different species. They're all ready to join the final attack. The entire galaxy wants to see the Zephyr. The final battle for the Zephyrian homeworld began at dawn on a day that would be remembered across the galaxy for the next 1,000 years. Admiral Jake Martinez stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching as the largest fleet in galactic history formed up around him. Ships from 48 different species filled the space around the alien capital world, all of them following human leadership. All fleet commanders, this is Admiral Martinez, he broadcast to the massive armada. Today we end an empire that has brought suffering to countless worlds. Today we prove that freedom is stronger than fear. On the planet below, Empress Zara watched the approaching fleet from her palace windows. The sight should have terrified her, but instead she felt only a cold acceptance. The empire her ancestors had built over centuries was about to fall to a species that had learned about space travel just 3 years ago. Your Majesty, reported her last remaining general, our planetary defenses are ready. We have enough firepower to destroy half their fleet. And then what? Zara asked quietly. They will send the other half. And if we destroy that, they will send more. The humans have taught the galaxy that we can be beaten. There is no coming back from that. General Lisa Turner led the ground assault. Forces from her command ship. Her armies were not just human anymore. Alien soldiers who had learned human tactics fought alongside Earth's warriors. Together they represented something the galaxy had never seen before. A truly united military force fighting for the same cause. All ground commanders, prepare for planetary assault, Turner ordered. Remember, we're not here to destroy their world. We're here to free it. Captain Dan Foster, now commanding his own battleship, detected the first enemy fire from the planet's surface. Massive energy cannons that could destroy entire cities fired up at the approaching fleet. But the Allied forces were ready. Evolution. Drones, engage planetary defenses, Foster ordered. Thousands of small drones, each one carrying the combat experience of every battle fought in the past 2 years, swarmed toward the planet. They moved like a silver cloud, dodging the massive energy beams while targeting the weapons that fired them. On the planet's surface, Zephyrian Defense Commander Brix watched in horror as his supposedly impregnable defenses were systematically destroyed by machines that seemed to think faster than any living being. "Sir, the human drones are learning our firing patterns faster than we can change them," reported his weapons officer. "Every time we adjust our targeting, they adapt within seconds." "How is that possible?" Brix demanded. "Each drone shares information with all the others instantly. It's like fighting a single opponent with 10,000 bodies." Dr. Helen Brooks watched the battle from her command center on Mars, coordinating the scientific aspects of the assault. Her teams had spent months studying Zephyrian technology, looking for weaknesses that could end the war quickly. "Activate the Harmony Disruptors," she ordered. The Harmony Disruptors were perhaps humanity's strangest weapon. They broadcast signals that interfered with Zephyrian brain patterns, making it impossible for them to maintain the rigid mental discipline their military required. Within minutes of activation, Zephyrian soldiers across the planet began experiencing something they had never felt before: doubt. For the first time in their lives, they questioned whether their empire was worth dying for. Captain Amy Garcia led the diplomatic phase of the assault, broadcasting surrender terms to Zephyrian forces in their own language. Her message was simple but powerful. "Soldiers of the Zephyrian Empire, you are fighting for leaders who started this war by attacking a peaceful world. You can end this by laying down your weapons. We offer you the same freedom we have given to 47 other species." The response was immediate and unexpected. Entire Zephyrian military units began surrendering without firing a shot. Some even turned their weapons on their own command centers, helping the Allied forces break through planetary defenses. Emperor Krell, the military leader who had originally dismissed the Keeper warning about humans, barricaded himself in the Imperial Palace with his most loyal followers. He had one final plan to deny victory to the humans and their allies. "If we cannot win, then no one can," Krell declared as he stood before a massive device that could destroy the entire planet. "I will activate the planetary destruction system. Better to die with honor than live as slaves to primitives." But Krell had made the same mistake that had doomed his empire from the beginning. He had underestimated human determination and creativity. Ryan Bell had designed a special infiltration team specifically for this possibility. The team was led by Sergeant Mike Torres, a former construction worker who had become one of humanity's best special operations soldiers. "The palace shields are too strong for our ships to penetrate," Torres reported to Admiral Martinez. "But they're designed to stop energy weapons and explosives. They're not designed to stop people who are willing to walk through the front door." Torres and his team did exactly that. They approached the palace and captured Zephyrian uniforms, speaking perfect alien language thanks to translation devices developed by human scientists. The guards let them pass thinking they were reinforcements. The infiltration team reached Krell's throne room just as he was about to activate the planet killer. The brief firefight that followed lasted less than 2 minutes. When it ended, the ORA device was disabled and Krell was in human custody. Empress Zara met Admiral Martinez in the same throne room where the decision to attack Earth had been made 3 years earlier. She looked older than her years, her purple skin pale with exhaustion and defeat. "You have won," she said simply. "The Zephyrian Empire surrenders unconditionally." Martinez studied the alien ruler with a mixture of respect and sadness. "Your Majesty, we didn't want this war. We just wanted to be left alone to explore the stars in peace." "I know," Zara replied. "That is why you won. You fought for something greater than conquest. You fought for the right to exist." The formal surrender ceremony took place in the capital city, broadcast to every world in the galaxy. Representatives from all 48 allied species stood together as the Zephyrian flag was lowered for the final time. Dr. Brooks addressed the assembled crowd, her words carried across the galaxy by relay stations on 1,000 worlds. "Today marks the end of an empire built on fear and the beginning of a galaxy built on cooperation. We have proven that no single species, no matter how powerful, can stand against the united will of free peoples. But the most important moment came when a representative of the ancient keeper species emerged from the crowd. The being was older than recorded history, and its words carried the weight of eons. "We warned that humans would turn your empire to ashes," the keeper said to the defeated Zephyrian leaders. "But we did not foresee the greater truth. From those ashes, they would build something better." General Turner oversaw the transition as Zephyrian worlds were liberated and their populations given the choice of how to govern themselves. Many chose to join the new galactic alliance that humanity had proposed. Others decided to remain independent but friendly. All were given the freedom to choose. Captain Foster, now promoted to admiral, took command of the new Galactic Defense Force. Its mission was not conquest but protection, ensuring that no empire could ever again threaten the freedom of smaller worlds. "We learned something important during this war," Foster told his mixed-species crew. "The strongest weapon in the universe isn't a gun or a bomb. It's the willingness to stand up for what's right, no matter what the odds." Ryan Bell returned to Earth to lead the peaceful development of the advanced technologies humanity had captured during the war. Plasma energy was used to power cities. Faster-than-light travel opened up the galaxy for exploration and trade. Medical advances discovered in alien biology helped cure diseases that had plagued humanity for centuries. But perhaps the most important change was in humanity itself. The species that had once been confined to a single planet now served as guardians and teachers for an entire galaxy. They had learned that their greatest strength was not their ability to fight, but their ability to inspire others to fight for freedom. Admiral Martinez, now in command of the entire human space fleet, stood on the observation deck of Earth's first orbital city. Through the windows he could see ships from dozens of different worlds coming and going, in peaceful trade and exploration. Amy Garcia joined him, now serving as Earth's ambassador to the Galactic Alliance. "Do you ever think about how different things could have been?" she asked. Martinez nodded as he watched a Zephyrian merchant ship dock alongside a human freighter. Former enemies were now trading partners and friends. If they had listened to the Keeper warning, none of this would have happened. But then the galaxy would still be living in fear, Garcia pointed out. Maybe this is how it was supposed to happen. Dr. Brooks published her final report on the war in a document that became required reading throughout the galaxy. Her conclusion was simple but profound. The Zephyrian Empire fell not because humans had better weapons or superior numbers, but because humans possessed something that cannot be conquered: the absolute refusal to accept defeat. When threatened with extinction, humanity evolved into something the galaxy had never seen before. They became the species that would not surrender, would not compromise, and